Welcome back to Squawk Box. Some experts already sounding the alarm about America's retirement crisis, saying it is nowhere near enough for many people facing retirement. BlackRock Chairman and CEO Larry Fink talked about this very issue in his annual letter to investors earlier this year, suggesting it may be time to rethink the retirement age of 65. But our next guest says the call to work longer is misleading, and a thesis that she now outlines in her latest book, Work, Retire, Repeat, The Uncertainty of Retirement in the New Economy. Teresa Ghilarducci, I apologize.
Ghilarducci.
Thank you. She's
You're not the first one.
And focusing on retirement security and, of course, a professor of economics at the New School for Social Research. Good morning to you and congratulations on the new book. Walk through your thesis and maybe how it differs with what I think a lot of folks are saying about how we may all have to work longer.
Yeah, so working longer is more of a convenient untruth, than any kind of plan or analysis. First of all, you hear that everybody's living longer, so why can't we work longer? Not everybody is living longer. The longevity gains over the past 40 years have mainly gone to the wealthiest Americans. Men have gained a lot more years of life than women, and in some segments, life expectancy is going down. And also, living longer is not the same thing as being able to work longer or being more attractive to an employer. Half the people who are retired say that they didn't retire, they were retired. They were pushed out of their jobs because of a layoff, a reorganization, their own health, physical or mental, or the health of their spouse forced them to withdraw from the labor force. We saw huge exits of older people. And I'm not talking 60s and 70s. I'm talking people in their 50s. Only half of people between the ages of 50 and 65 have continuous employment. So this idea that if we didn't save enough, we could actually work longer is a canard. It just isn't true on its face.
So if you're right, but people are physically living longer, even if you think they can't work longer, then what would you do? I mean, the economics of that are very dangerous.
Right. Fortunately, most Americans don't want the government, just to pay for their retirement plan. Whenever they're asked, do you want to cut back on Social Security? Do you want to work longer? Or do you want to save more for your retirement? People choose, I want to save more for my retirement. Many people, when asked, would put more money towards their Social Security so they could get more Social Security money. So what is important to realize is that people feel that they need to save for their retirement, but they need a safe, effective, automatic platform to do it. The 401k system just doesn't cut it. We've run this experiment for the past 40 years. 40 years ago, 401ks became the more popular way that some employers, the employers who chose to, would provide retirement accounts. But now, after 40 years, only half of people at any one point in time are even in a 401k type plan or even an IRA or a traditional plan, which is becoming a teeny part of retirement coverage. So at any one point in time, half of the workforce is not saving for retirement, and when asked, they want to. So we need actually a bold proposal to get help everybody save for their retirement.
So how do you feel about
Social Security?
How do you feel about forced savings, sort of a la Australia, a 401k plan that's a requirement?
It's actually the only way that countries, advanced capitalist market economies, have found that people will be secure in retirement. A universal pension system, just like our universal Social Security system. I'm in favor of mandatory savings, just like I'm in favor of mandatory Social Security. Why? It's not because I'm ideological about it. It's because practically it's the only system that works. We know that the most important power, financial power in our markets, is the power of compound interest. Getting people in early into a pension plan is about the only way that they could have enough savings at the end of their working lives to supplement their Social Security. And if you start saving in your 20s and 30s, most of that income you're going to live off of in your 60s, 70s, and 80s will come from the market, not out of your own hide. So it's saving 5 to 15% for every paycheck starting at age in your 20s or 30s is actually not a radical idea. It's just radical in the United States. And there is a bill in Congress.
Teresa, we're going to have to jump in 1 second, but let me just ask you one final question, which is at a time when there are so many Americans, especially lower down the ladder, who need the cash today just to get by. This is a counter argument, effectively, to the forced savings. By the way, I'm with you. I like the forced savings in concept, but the practicality may be very difficult.
You're going to have hamburger helper without the hamburger for the next 5 years, so that we can afford.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So lower income workers, under this plan in Congress, the Retirement Savings for All American Act was supported by Republicans, Democrats, and the AARP, Charles Schwab, Uber, and other platform economies say that if people are forced to save and they're low income, that money would go into their own account, and most low-income workers actually want that. And the government, under this plan, the government for lower-income workers would match that money by 5%. It would cost some money, but right now we spend billions for the high earners.